Welcome, everybody, to Chronicles of the Racing Doctor. I am the Racing Doctor, and this is Season 1, Episode 3. And this race is in Iola, Texas. It is a jailbreak 100 jailbird 55 race. I did the 55-mile race because I'm in no condition to race 100 miles at this point in my life. So I chose to do the 55-mile race with 200 other people. Race Ready Repair, the local bike shop in Conroe, Texas, has been promoting this race for several years now. This is the second time I'm doing this event, and it's a ton of fun. The race promoter was saying that this year they had more participants in the 55-mile race than they did in the 100-mile race. And it was a ton of fun. This race was a huge learning experience for me in particular. My FTP has come up significantly over the past 5 months, and I've been doing a lot of training on the trainer and outside on the road, and I feel really, really good about where I'm at physically on the bicycle. And this video is shorter than the other videos that I have posted thus far because I had issues and I was not prepared. And I've always said, if you are not prepared for a race, you are not going to do well in the race, and that was 100% me this go around, but we'll talk more about that later. With this neutral rollout, it's the first couple of miles of the race, but what's really cool about this event specifically is as soon as you leave the parking lot, you're in the gravel, which is awesome. A lot of events, especially a lot of events in the Central Texas area and East Texas, there's a mile or two of neutral rollout just to get you to the gravel. So this race is kind of cool in that there's no asphalt at the beginning, which is a ton of fun. So let's go ahead and get into me not being prepared for this race. I decided to change the mount for the GoPro for this race, move some things around a little bit to provide you, the viewer, with more perspective as to what's going on. But as you can see, all we're getting here is this guy's socks, my computer, my front tire comes into view here, and a shit ton of gravel. So 90% of my problems with this race here are me not being prepared to use this GoPro mount as effectively as it can be used, but also this mount is just a huge piece of shit. It does not hold the camera up well at all. It keeps diving, dipping, dodging, diving, and ducking. And I fight the GoPro through most of the race, and it is not my favorite thing to do at all. I find myself throughout this entire race fighting with the GoPro more than actually racing, which kind of sucks. It takes away from the experience of racing and being competitive, and also trying to provide reasonably decent content for YouTube and for this series that I'm trying to do this year. And it sucks. I don't like it. So I'm going to go back to the GoPro mount where the GoPro lives underneath my Garmin. The view isn't quite as good. I can't give the talking head perspective. I thought about doing the mouth mount, but I can't handle the slobber, the drool, the inability to breathe with a GoPro hanging out of my mouth, basically on a mouth guard. So of the 212-ish minutes of GoPro video, 90% of it is this fucking bullshit. And when I notice it, that the camera's sitting here looking at the gravel, I pick it up and point it back at the race. So
Yeah, that's why this one's shorter. But looking at the overview of this race, the jailbreak for 2024 out of Iola, Texas, I really like this Relive app. It's awesome. It gives you a really cool topographical view of your rider race. It also gives you segments. So you saw the little rocket ship right there where I hit 30 miles an hour. What I really like about this one is it also gives you the elevation change as the route progresses, which is kind of cool. So if you look at the top left-hand side, you can see the elevation changes. This race had about 1,400 feet of climbing in 55 miles, which is not a lot. It was super windy though. You get out here in the flats north of Houston, north of College Station, and the wind will just eat you alive. So it's not the climbing that'll kill you, it's the wind. Uh, yeah, 15.6 miles an hour average, a little more than 3 hours, 1,400 feet of climbing, 55 miles, which put me in 47th place overall out of 200 people, which I'm not mad at. Not too shabby for my second race out of surgery and crashing and shattering a clavicle. So yeah, I was not mad at the result of this event at all.
We can view this video as kind of like a highlights reel, but the highlights are going to be the fucked up video footage that I got from this event and this race. So here we go over this little bridge. There's 2 lanes, and as I bunny hop over it, you can see that the camera goes straight to the sky. And can't really tell what's going on here, which is awesome. So again, this is where, I have to reset the camera, and it's just an absolute shit show trying to be a videographer for this race. This is only my 4th time really playing with the GoPro and trying to create content and show what the racing is like in my little part of the world out here in East Texas around Houston, and even into Central Texas south of Austin. We have a very lively race scene here, and there's a lot of racing to be had, and the gravel is always in spectacular condition. Most of the roads that we get to ride on in this part of the country, it's this beautiful lush champagne gravel, and it's a lot of fun, and the races are awesome. They're super competitive, and it's always a blast. So I started doing this just to show what it's like out here. But being a beginner at this, I still kind of suck at creating content. This is not my day job, and I'm learning, and it's a huge learning experience, but I have fun doing it. So there's that. The gravel in this part of the country is actually so good that you can see this gentleman here in front of me has no derailleur. So he's actually out here on a single speed tearing it up, which is cool. With 1,400 feet of climbing, I can see why you would want to do a single speed. The competition's far less. I think there were like 3 people in the single speed category, which is kind of cool. I ended up talking to that gentleman at the end of the race, and he finished second in the single speed category in the 50-mile race. And he actually ended up finishing overall better than I did because of my failure to be prepared. And you'll see here goes the GoPro again, making its migration to the highlights of the sky and the trees and the roofs of buildings. And I'm not real proud of how this video came out, but we learn more through our mistakes and failures than we do through our successes. So that's how I'm viewing this whole jailbreak race right now, is just a learning experience and how to how to do this creating content thing and be competitive and race, I can see why people like Keegan and Sophia and Alexi and Hannah don't race with GoPros, because to be an elite level athlete and to be super competitive and earn a paycheck racing bicycles and trying to create awesome videos would be super, super difficult. I think it would be awesome to see something from one of those guys at a race like Unbound or the Sea Otter. But I don't see them actually doing that because they're racing at a super high level for a crap ton of money. Which this is not. This is rec racing weekend warrior stuff out here, and we're just out here having a good time. So we're going to do some fast forwarding through the rest of this section here of the jailbreak race as we get to the first piece of asphalt. And I pre-rode this course a couple of weeks before the race, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do and what the game plan was going to be for this race, and where I could be most efficient and most effective with my racing style and with strategizing for this race. As we round this corner, this is a section of asphalt that we're going to come onto here. I pre-rode this course, so I kind of knew what was coming up and what was going to happen and where we were going to kind of end up for this section of the race. And I knew that I was going to go into this and kind of turn myself inside out and ride really hard, really fast, burn a few matches, and see who comes with me. Because if you can leave the slow guys behind and get some faster guys to chase you, then you guys can work together to move forward in the field. I know we're not going to catch the fast guys in this race. I have no thoughts of grandeur that I'm going to end up on the podium here, but I do want to improve my position as much as I can, and that's kind of what we do here. I did turn myself inside out a little bit. I think my heart rate went up to like 191 or 192 through this sprint, and the talking head view that you're going to get here momentarily kind of shows you that. So that really was the deciding factor in changing the mount for the GoPro, was to provide a talking head kind of view. I notice in the people that I follow on YouTube that do bike races and things like that and are professional content creators, they all have some sort of talking head view where you can see what it's like for them, not only from a POV, but also from a perspective of what it looks like when they turn the camera around and you can talk to them and see their face. So that was the reason why I chose the GoPro mount, but it proved to be 100% a huge piece of shit. But we get this.
So I kind of tore myself apart, breathing again. But I wanted to use the asphalt to my advantage. That's why I pre-ride courses. So I know when to go and where.
like the talking head view. It makes me look a little weird from that particular camera angle. You know, I feel like you're looking at my gobbler and not my face, which is kind of funny. But it just shows you how much work an athlete puts in to do that. Because when you see the footage from the point of view, it doesn't look like I'm working all that hard, and it didn't like going through that asphalt section. But I mean, I did kind of turn myself inside out, as I said, after that sprint, and after that little move I tried to make there, just to put myself in a little bit better position to get people to come with me, and leave the slower guys behind. So these are the guys that came with me. I kind of back off a little bit here to recover, let somebody else do the pulling for a little bit so that I can get my heart rate down. I did like really work a lot through this race. I improved my maximum heart rate by like 4 beats a minute. So this was the first time that I really ran my heart rate up to the rev limiter, and then I did it again towards the end of the race as well. And my heart rate went to like 194, I think, at that point as well, which is pretty awesome for a middle-aged 45-year-old dude who's not an elite level athlete. So here I am at the back of this little group that decided to go with me. There are 5 of us, 6 of us, something like that. And I stay with these guys through the rest of this race, mostly, kinda, sorta, not really. Because, again, I had issues with all of the things, content creation in this race. But we'll talk more about that here in a bit. So this is where we ride for a while. Me and these guys, we kind of take turns taking pulls. There were a few guys that you could tell hadn't really worked in a group before. They didn't know how to pace. They didn't know how to turn on the front and take a pull or run through a pace line. Everybody's just kind of milling around and switching positions back and forth in front of me, rather than somebody pulling off to the left, going to the back, the next person pulling through and really doing a true pace line. But, you know, this is rec racing. It's not the Pro Tour. This is not Unbound. None of us are professional racers, and this is not the Lifetime Grand Prix. We are not racing for money. We're racing for prestige and bragging rights out here in Southeast Texas. And here's more of the weather patterns from this race out here in Southeast Texas, because this GoPro mount just will not stay where I put it. It bounces all over the place, up, down. And here we go back into reasonable race view again, because I keep having to manage and monitor this thing, which is really starting to piss me off at this point, because we're not even 8 or 9 miles into this event, and I've spent more time fucking around with the GoPro than I have actually concentrating on racing and figuring out how these guys and I are going to ride and work together over the next 40 some miles. Who I did not expect to bridge that gap when I made that attack on the asphalt and come along with the rest of the faster guys that wanted to put in some work is Shane. Shane is the individual that was on the single speed earlier in the video, and the dude is extraordinarily strong. He is super fast, and he wanted to put in work, which is awesome to see and to be present for, that's for sure. So he's actually off to my left right here. The audio on the camera didn't pick it up, but you can see how the guys in front are rocking back and forth in their saddles. They're standing up, dancing on the pedals, trying to get up this little climb here. And you'll see Shane come off on the left-hand side of the screen here in just a second and head to the front and do a pull, which is kind of cool. Single speed riders are some of the craziest individuals on the face of the planet, in my opinion. To get out here and ride like this with odd gear is kind of insane, considering I think my Strava told me I made like 650 some odd shifts over the course of this 55-mile race, which is insane. And Shane did 0, which makes me feel like a super incompetent racer. I think the only people that are crazier than single speed riders are fixed geared riders that play in the gravel and in the dirt. There was a race called the Gravel Challenge out at St. Houston National Forest late last year that Race Ready Repair put on, and there was a guy on a pixie and no brakes, and going through some of the downhill sections he was just locking up his back tire and sliding the rear end around to slow down. Absolutely ridiculous. Pretty cool to watch. Kind of scary to experience the first time when you're riding in a pack of like 30 other guys and the guy beside you skips a tire out to try and slow down a little bit because he ain't got no brakes. Super freaky, but cool to see nonetheless. I think that's one of the things that I like most about gravel is you don't have any idea what you're going to see on a gravel race or on a gravel course, especially when you're doing the smaller regional races. There's dudes that show up on single speeds, they're jorts, and like 3 PBRs in a cross body bag that their wife owns because they're not going to eat during the event. They're going to drink it up and have a good fucking time riding their bike, which I absolutely love. I think that is what makes the spirit of gravel the spirit of gravel. And there's other guys that want to be super fast and racy, which is cool and awesome and fun, but I think it's the guys that are a little on the fringe that make these events a lot of fun and super interesting, and it's all about just getting out there and riding your bike and having a good time, which I love. Continuing on with the conversation of the spirit of gravel and what that looks like, if you take a look at this couple we're rolling up on here, the woman in the front, she has on this amazing little like sombrero thing over the top of her helmet to keep her from getting sunburned, which I think is super cool. And I think that's part of the spirit of gravel, right? Like, you show up wearing whatever you want to come out and have a good time and play in the dirt with 200 other people, which is awesome. And I love that about our sport. There's also a huge shift in gravel right now because, money plays into things. The UCI is doing their Gravel World Series across the pond, as well as their World Championship, and Lifetime is doing the whole Grand Prix thing, with Unbound being the premier event for gravel anywhere in the world. We've got guys like Tiffany Cromwell, who is Gravel World Series champion, and Greg Van Avermaet, who's an Olympian and has won fucking Roubaix, and Matej Mohoric, who won the Gravel World Championships, and of course Matt Beers has won Cape Epic, Paris-Roubaix winner Nikki Terpstra. Like, these are all really, really big names in road racing and in the world tour, and I think it's awesome that these people are coming to the States to see the kind of racing that we offer here, because outside of like the tour of California, American racing has kind of been shit for the past century. There's not a whole lot of really good racing, but with gravel, like, we are the epicenter of all things that are gravel. And I think that is really, really cool. And it's these small regional races like the Jailbreak 100 that really put gravel on the map and keep us on the map and make it accessible to everyone. You don't have to be a tour level rider to get out here and race. And it's awesome. And I think it's great what we have, especially here in Texas, with a bunch of races happening all over the state. I mean, the state's fucking huge, but it's a great place to race, and it's a great place to play in the gravel. Coming into the end of this video, I will stop with my love letter to gravel. As much as I do love gravel racing and all things gravel, this video is coming to an end very quickly, and you're about to see the last frame of footage that I have for this race. And I will explain why here in a moment. But there it is, the last frame. That was the last frame of footage from the Jailbreak race in Iola, Texas, presented by Race Ready Repair. And the reason why is the GoPro died. The battery died. And when we got to the next section of asphalt, I tried to change the battery. And when I did, I knocked the battery door off the GoPro. GoPros don't work without battery doors on them because there's nothing to hold the battery in place. So that's all I got for this video. Had about 25-ish miles left in this race when I made the decision to stop racing with that chase group and turn around and go try and find the GoPro door, which I did not find. Wasted a bunch of time doing that, and ended up finishing the race pretty much by myself. I finished 45th out of 200, so a little bit better than, the top 25%, which I'm not mad at. I have no idea where I was in that chase group and where they finished. But yeah, the race was a ton of fun. Race Ready Repair does an awesome job at putting on events. They do a race in the fall called the Gravel Challenge out at Sam Houston National Forest, which is my favorite place to ride. There's a video on that in this series of Chronicles of the Racing.Doctor, so if you want to check out the Sam Houston National Forest, you can. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I know the content for this video is kind of shit because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'll just be perfectly honest with you. It's a lot of fun though. I enjoy doing it, but like I say, if you don't understand your equipment, your equipment will be detrimental to your success. I have no idea how this new GoPro mount worked. The reviews on it on Amazon were pretty good, but it is 100% a piece of shit, and I'm not going to use it anymore. But thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you following along with this learning experience that I'm going through with this YouTube series as a middle-aged doctor who races bicycles and moonlights as a gravel racer. If you like what you see, hit that like button below, smash that subscribe button. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee account. If you care to contribute financially to this page, you can. It's buymeacoffee.com/The.Racing.Doctor. Thank you to my wife and child who allow me to do all of the things that I want to do in life, even if it's to the detriment of of my health sometimes. I absolutely adore you guys, and thank you for letting me do this. Illegal Factory Team, super excited to continue to race with you guys in 2024. The feed, you guys are awesome with keeping me fueled and hydrated. Absolutely love you guys for what you do. And that's all I got, guys. I'm the Racing Doctor. I will see you guys next time. Stay gravel dirty.